Okay, so I'm going to add myself a second sandbox. So I've made sure that I am logged into Wikipedia. There's my username, Conway Digi, and here is my sandbox. But obviously, I've only got one space, but I'd quite like to have another space to do things in. So I'm just going to keep this in mind that this is the address of my sandbox. Okay, so I would either write that down or copy it over onto a Word document or something. So the way to create a second sandbox informally is to go to your user page and then click Edit Source here. Now I am going to stay in Wikicode to do this because I find it actually a little bit easier. So just anywhere on my page, I'm going to put in a section for my sandboxes. And then here I'm going to put a link to my existing sandbox page. So remember that we had the address for the sandbox. So I'm going to copy this. And then to create a link in Wikicode, use 2 square brackets. So 2 square brackets, the address for my existing sandbox, and then close those 2 square brackets. Now I'm just going to publish changes, and you'll see that I've got my sandboxes, and then I've got this blue link here that takes me to my already existing sandbox. So obviously we want to create a second sandbox. So we'll go into Edit Source again, and I'm just going to copy this link and paste it, and then I'm just going to write sandbox 2, or you could write second sandbox or 2 sandbox, whatever you wanted to call it. I'm going to call it sandbox 2, and then I'm going to publish those changes. And you can see that this link is red, which means that that page doesn't exist yet. So the way that we create that page is by clicking on it. And I'm just in the text box here, I'm just going to write, this is my second sandbox. And we're going to publish that page. So now you can see I haven't got like an additional link across the top. However, if I go to my user page along the top here, I've now got sandbox 2, which I can edit in exactly the same way as my other sandbox. Something that you would probably want to add is this kind of this template at the top, which includes the submit your draft for review button. It's quite a useful thing to have in your sandbox. So this is my first sandbox, my main one, which I can get to along the top here. So I'm going to click Edit Source, and what you'll see here is a bit of wiki code that says user sandbox. So that tiny line of wiki code and the edit below this line, which I'll also include, this is what's going to give you that template at the top, which has the submit review button. So I'm just copying that there, copy, and then I'm going to go back to my user page. So here's the link to my main sandbox, and then sandbox 2. I'm going to edit that. I'm just going to go to the beginning of the wiki code and put in a few lines, and you can see that I've copied in the template and the edit below this line note, and then I'm going to publish my changes. So now you can see that the sandbox 2 has also got a submit your draft for review button, and just to show you again from the main user page, I've now got my main sandbox, and then I have my sandbox 2 with a blue link as well.